What is good, people? And today we will be doing a Champions League Wednesday night predictions. Now, for those of us who were here yesterday, and hit the subscribe button as well, I'll give you a bit of time. For those of us who watched yesterday's video, know the algorithm, it did not exactly work. It did not exactly work how we wanted it to. There was a few misses. However, there's a few things that could have swayed into my favour, which did not go in my way. For instance, Galatasaray, I didn't know that they were going to miss that many players. It could have easily been a 1-1 in Dortmund as well, but the Villarreal red card just changed the focus of the game, and Dortmund just went crazy with goals. Of course, your favourite influencers, I see the videos. They did not get perfect scores either. Therefore, you need to put some faith in me, please. I beg of you, thank you. Now, as we begin with the Matchday 5 Wednesday games, the early kickoffs, we will start with, of course, a game I predicted yesterday. I have no change in this. 4-1 to Copenhagen against Karat. Of course, Copenhagen at home, they've taken a few beatings. They deserve a good win, just to boost their egos again in the Champions League. Pafos versus Monaco. We saw they lost 4-1 Monaco to Stade Rennais in Ligue 1. I'll go 2-0. Pogba back. As long as this guy Zakaria does not be a fool again, they should get it over the line. I know it was a very good win for Pafos against, of course, Villarreal in the last game, but I don't see the same happening here. Pogba coming back to the Champions League, the biggest stage of all. 2-0 Monaco. PSG versus Tottenham Hotspur. Of course, I think it will be a 3-1 PSG. If Spurs try and sit back again, I know of course it was a 2-2 draw in the Super Cup, but it's a different Spurs. It's a lot more injuries than previously seen in regards to Thomas Frank's team, and there's a lot of animosity, especially after losing 4-1 in the North London derby against Arsenal. PSG without Hakimi, but Zaire Emery, for those of us that have been watching the French League, has been doing an exceptional job in that position. I will say 3-1 to PSG, comfortable, especially in Paris rather than a neutral venue. It will be good for PSG. Liverpool versus PSV. I think they will get a goal. PSV, I believe they will score. The young player in this team, of course, Sebari. I say he's young, he's 24 years of age, His careers, they vary a lot. And of course, he's from Morocco, good player for those of us who don't know, and who are trying to come into these videos to do their research on players. He's a 24-year-old, very young player. Liverpool have to win at some point though. As good as Sebari has been in his domestic league, I believe it will be a Liverpool 2-1 win. Now, Atletico versus Inter. Lauti in the big games. I will not back Atletico, of course, won the Harambul derby, playing against another historically Harambul team. In Inter, I will go for 1-1. Of course, like I say in these videos, it's not financial advice. So if you do want some financial advice, I will say, I believe, Dumfries goal, Di Marco assist, book it. Now, Frankfurt versus Atalanta, I will be going for the 1-0 Frankfurt win. That is because Ivan Juric, he's been doing okay for Atalanta, but I am not convinced personally. Especially, for those of us who watch the Premier League, he was not very good when he was the manager, of course, for Southampton. Last season, he was the coach of the relegation battle, and Gasperini, a very good coach himself, who's gone to Roma. And look, man, there's a bit of animosity there. There's a bit of bad blood feuds. I believe that Frankfurt, especially at home, and what we saw them do to Galatasaray, who of course are flying in the Champions League now, but last night we kind of, injuries. But they will get the job done. 1-0. Sporting versus Club Brugge. Now this is a game I am looking forward to. I don't know about you guys. You're watching us and all, aren't you? I say this, but I'm asking the wrong questions. This game for a neutral, you know, if you watched Union Saint-Gilloise yesterday in Galatasaray, you watched the football that they was playing. Of course, end to end, you know, you have Gilloise will go to one end of the pitch, and then Gala will go to the other one, and they will just be back and forth, all, especially in that first half. I believe Belgium teams, when I watch them, they are very similar alike, and they're very similar in that aspect. So I believe a 2-2 draw. The difference is today that there will be players on that pitch that can convert chances. So I will go for the 2-2 draw and be very safe. Olympiacos versus Real Madrid. Again, I will be safe and routine. I will go 2-0 to Real Madrid. Of course, Olympiacos, they are not an easy team to play, especially in Greece. However, I believe Xabi Alonso, with his back to the wall, of course, will have Kylian Mbappe save him with a goal. And I do believe there will be a man of the match exceptional performance from Arda Güler, as well as Jude Bellingham coming back into form for Madrid. Now for the big one, Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. And now, as you can see, I've not gone for many draws. I don't like to go for the draws. It's not good for the algorithm, I do not believe. But I will be going for 2-2 in this game. I think Gabriel will be a big miss, of course. Maybe not defensively, but more for the set pieces and, you know, going forwards. And however, we did see the hat-trick from Eze. He will be going into this game with amazing form. Elise also in good form after Brian came from 2 goals down to win 6-2 against Freiburg on the weekend. Arsenal, of course, beating Spurs 4-1. We've discussed this prior. I'll go for 2-2. Most of your favourite experts are also going for this, so I will, you know, it's believable. And I will also be back in the 2-2 draw. Of course, press that like button, press that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking of these games and, you know, predictions. And I will be dropping the Arsenal Bayern combined 11 video very, very soon. Peace.